feel like I'm dying.
It's okay. It's just a dream.
Silent Hill 4 is a flawed game, like really flawed at times. The combat is borderline broken. Some enemies are infuriating to deal with. It limited the amount of items you could carry at a time for no reason other than to force you to backtrack to your apartment very frequently. You revisit every single area in the game twice, and on top of that, the second half of the game is home to one of the worst escort missions in gaming history. Yet, despite all these flaws, Silent Hill 4 is one of my favourite survival horror games ever. Let's start with the positives. I love the premise for this game. In Silent Hill 4, you play as Henry Townsend, a young man who wakes up one day to find himself completely locked inside his apartment. Just when it seems like there's no way out, and that Henry will be trapped in his apartment forever, a portal appears in his bathroom soon afterwards, which leads him to what seems like an alternate dimension. In this dimension, Henry encounters many different kinds of dangerous creatures, and also runs into some citizens from the city, a few of which actually live in Henry's same apartment building. Whenever Henry leaves this dimension, he will reawaken in his apartment, like nothing had ever happened. Even though Henry is completely cut off from the outside world while walking around in his apartment, he can still look out his windows and see the people around him going about their daily lives. He can check for anyone outside his front door who may be trying to help him, and he can also spy on his next door neighbour Eileen Galvin through a hole in the wall. I love this attention to detail. Unlike most games from the PS2 era, the city featured in Silent Hill 4 feels like a real living place. You will frequently wake up in your apartment only to find many things have changed. Some people might be talking about you outside your apartment door, an ambulance may appear in the street, or Eileen might be getting ready for a party. Every time I returned to my apartment, I looked forward to seeing what new events were occurring in the city around me. As a major introvert myself, the idea of being confined to a small space in a video game was very interesting to me, since I spent a lot of my younger years basically confined to my room. Even though my room was never chained shut or my windows locked, I still felt like a prisoner in my own home sometimes, so in a way I could really relate to what Henry was going through in this game, even if the circumstances he found himself in were far more dire. I also think the story is one of the best in the series. In a lot of ways it's your traditional serial killer storyline, but the supernatural nature of the plot keeps it interesting. I just love how fucked up some of the scenes in this game are. Christ. Very few sequels have the balls to take the kind of risks that Silent Hill 4 did. Think about it. Previous installments in the series took place in a massive town, but a lot of Silent Hill 4 takes place in a tiny apartment. Previous games allowed you to carry as many bullets and health items as you liked. In Silent Hill 4, you can only hold a limited amount of items at a time, emphasizing resource management for the first time in the series. Previous games had more of an emphasis on combat. You pretty much always had enough bullets to kill every enemy in the game. In Silent Hill 4, you get very little ammo, and there are even enemies that can't be killed. In a lot of ways, Silent Hill 4 is the truest survival horror game in the series. It's not a perfect game by any means, but I just love the atmosphere of this title. Being locked in a tiny area and trying to find a way out is such an intriguing idea for a video game. I love how relaxing and comforting your apartment is during the first half of the game. It works as a safe haven almost, where you can recover your health, store your items, and maybe just relax and watch the world pass by outside your window. You grow to associate your apartment with safety, so when your only safe place begins to get possessed by demons and other paranormal entities in the second half of the game, it makes you feel completely helpless. It's such a brilliant got you moment by the developers. Overall, Silent Hill 4 is a flawed but very memorable entry in the series. Not everyone will click with the game, but it tries so many new things that I can't help but applaud its ambition. It will always be a special game to me.